Hello, my Aries friends. This is Dr. Shiny here with a tarot reading for April. Um, Welcome back if you're returning to the channel, and welcome for all those that are first-time visitors too. I'm thinking about possibly going to two readings a month, doing a mid-month reading as well as at the beginning of the month. Please let me know if you think that would be something you would like, or if that's just too much, you don't care about that. Um, Whatever you want, I will try to accommodate it the best I can. What we have for your current situation today is the Knight of Coins. Knight of Coins indicates a sort of almost stubborn way of doing things, or you you somehow know that there's a right way to do something, procedure, or perhaps even just like a best way, better way to do it, and you don't really want to compromise. You're keeping your mind on the plan that you've come up with, and it could be alienating you from people a little bit. This is, like I said, you're perceived as a stubborn person. Nobody's going to see the value in the vision that you have more than the vision that they have, you know. So it's going to be something that you're going to have to fight a little bit to navigate your way through. What's influencing you is the High Priestess. This is divine feminine. This is in touch with your feminine side, which is very intuitive. This is more sort of gut instinct and intuition than it is thought-based or plan or procedure-based. So this is what's sort of crossing you. This is, if you're a person who has a way of doing things a specific way, or a specific procedure, being a little bit outside the lines can be uncomfortable for you. It can make you think that you're being irresponsible, that it's naughty, dirty, or something like that. There's that sort of energy associated with it. So you're sort of being taught the balance to whatever the emotion that you have is right now. Like it's an extreme of an emotion. At one side is this Knight of Coins energy, which is like things have to be done this specific way. And then on the other side is this High Priestess energy, which is just however it happens, it happens. You know what I mean? Like this total acceptance. So what that's going to lead to in the future, if you're not able to sort of learn this lesson, is you're going to end up feeling caught, trapped, backed into a corner where you can't really escape, because sometimes even your own conscience or your mind keeps you locked in there, your guilt or something like that, to where it would be easy for you to just escape if you wanted to. You have the ability, but your mentality is saying, no, no, I can't do that. But you don't necessarily have to come to this situation if you can learn to sort of integrate this sort of masculine and feminine energy a little bit more harmoniously, you know. What got you here, the past leading up to this current situation, is the wheel. The wheel is involved with cycles, you know, the moon, time, those types of things, getting older, age, development, growth, hormones, that type of thing. So that's what's gotten you here. You've spent enough time in one side of the cycle, and now the universe is asking you to move on to the next part. And it's just a natural flow of life. This is something that everybody's got to learn, everybody's got to go through, and it may sometimes feel painful. It may feel like it's not a positive process, but it is. It's always a positive process, so don't worry about it. It's good. For the foundation of the situation, you have the Two of Cups, and the foundation, I look at it as sort of like what the overall lesson is that you're being learned, or what the universe is trying to bestow on you, what you're being asked to understand, you know. And it's this Two of Cups, which is a total balance of emotion, but it also has this energy about it to where, see, both of the owls are holding up either end of a garland. And so they're like working together. Each one of them is playing their part, which is not always the same part, but it's balanced. It's one person is contributing characteristics to the situation that the other one just doesn't have. And it's not a bad thing that they don't have them, because it's a good thing that you do. You know what I mean? It's something that can allow you to be closer, to grow together, because you have sort of different ways of looking at things. I go through this mental exercise where anytime I see somebody doing a job that I don't want to do, I say, oh man, I'm so thankful that I'm not having to be him in this incarnation. You know what I mean? Like, I picture as if I'm gonna live everybody else's life eventually. So I'm like, I'm so thankful that I've learned that lesson in another life, that this one is sort of like where I'm free to take another more harmonious path. And you learn a lot from that acceptance, from accepting that everybody has to go through hardships. It's not necessarily anyone's fault that anything bad happens or anything like that, but there's always a sense of balance, you know. There's always spend too much time having fun, and you're gonna have to have some hard times. You know what I mean? If you devote yourself to getting all your hard times out in the beginning, then there's less hard times later on. But we have ways of making more problems for ourselves as we solve problems. So you can sort of get on a rat race if you don't have balance and just, you know, work your life away, or not even work your life away, but just never be happy, never stop and smell the roses. So don't want to do that. So you're being taught balance. You're being taught to not have it your way completely, but to realize that if you mix your way with somebody else's way, the thing that you get in the middle is almost always better than what both of the two people had in mind. You know what I mean? So what's on your mind, what you're thinking about, is the Hierophant, which it's all about institutions. This could be marriage, this could be the church, a religion, a way of doing things, you know, the right way. This could be where your current situation is coming from. You have some values that have been planted in you that you hold dear to your heart, that you don't want to back down on. And somebody else is more doesn't see the value in those systems that you've implemented quite so much. That's very possible. So you have some allegiance, some loyalty, and some gratitude to give to these people, or this person, or this system, and you want to pay it respect in some way. If you don't know how to respect something, I always say that it's not really important if you succeed. It's important that you try. It's important that you try to respect someone, even if you don't necessarily understand how. You know what I mean? And that goes a long way. So there's that. But your current, or your advice for your current situation, is the King of Swords. This is saying to use your intellect to cut through, especially like your visions of the future, which are merely visions, things that may not be good for you in the long run, but just ideas that you like. This has got a more practical energy to it, where the king is not so much a young dreamer who thinks that every idea he has is the best idea. This is a guy who understands that there's just value in all ideas. He's, I would say, in terms of using the swords, if you're thinking about it like battle, instead of using his sword to, you know, compete, conquest, and like overtake enemies and things like that, he's a dueler. His sword play, his games, are a little bit more to learn and to help other people learn as well. So there are some people who just love to fight, but they can channel that fighting in a constructive way, or in a way that contributes to their life or to the happiness of others, or something like that, you know. So there's a purpose for everybody. And I think that specifically this is telling you to understand that there's a purpose for any opposing viewpoints that you have or that are coming towards you, that they are seeing some particular perspective or dimension of the problem, which is giving them reason to be concerned over how this is going in a different way than you are. So just take heed, take advantage of that. Take advantage of the fact that other people are sort of looking out for your blind spots. You know what I mean? So don't just take it as being hurt or feeling silly because your vision had maybe something shaky about it or something for you to be embarrassed about or something like that. Don't be embarrassed about it, because your unique quality or your unique vision, which set it apart from everybody else, is sort of what made it beautiful. It's what makes it interesting. You know what I mean? So cherish that and understand it and display it proudly, and you never know how popular it might actually be, Okay, so the current environment is a somewhat painful transition. This is the Six of Swords. It has the feeling that this is unfortunate, that you have to go through this. It could have gone a better way, but you do fully understand, at least conceptually, that it's a good thing that you're going through, that even though there's some pain here in the short term, it's going to benefit you better in the long run. If you're really feeling like this is a common theme or something like that, one of the tips that I'd like to give out every time I get the chance is to take cold showers. Or if you like hot showers, that's fine, I do too. But at least at like the last minute or 2 minutes of the shower, turn it all the way over to cold, and don't do it with the attitude of like, okay, I'm gonna enjoy or endure this awful thing. Like if you approach it that way, it's not gonna do you any good. But try to sit in it and truly find comfort in that cold water. I mean, it was really difficult for me because I always loved my showers really, really hot. And so at first, trying to find some degree of like, this feels good in freezing cold water was nearly impossible at first. But if you work at it, you notice it gets easier and easier to do. You just have to really want to do it, And if you learn how to do that, if you can train yourself, like using cold showers, for example, you become less prone to seeking absolute comfort in your day-to-day life, which is a good thing because it allows you to sort of like, put your nose to the grindstone and do things that you don't necessarily want to do, to be able to get to the place where you want to go, and to have a better view of the future, so impulsiveness is good to a point, but then there's also a time to sort of rein it back a little bit and be practical, that kind of thing. Impulsiveness, or I like to say everything in moderation, including moderation. So there's going to be some times where the moderation needs to be broken up, the monotony needs to be broken up, but that's not all the time. You know what I mean? There's sometimes does need to be some rhythm in order for you to gather up energy to the point that you can accomplish the next thing that you want to accomplish. That type of idea. What is in your fears is the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands indicates like a brand new opportunity, or not necessarily idea, but sort of a new vision, a new possibility. You know what I mean? So this is like, we just developed a new rocket engine that can make Mars exploration a possibility, and anyone can go. You know what I mean? And then you thinking about that, like, wow, this new opportunity, this new thing has happened that could lead me to so many more of my dreams. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's kind of like you've just discovered the existence of a rabbit hole, that type of thing, and you're about to jump in. You think you're about to jump in anyway. Well, so this is in the fears card, so this suggests that you are maybe afraid to take the leap a little bit, that you are, and this is not necessarily a bad thing. Being afraid to take the leap has a way of, well, it can trap you it can make you feel trapped like this, like there's no way out. But most people are able to sort of come to a point where they recognize that something's got to give, right? That you've got to eventually, you can't stay safe forever. You've got to be adventurous, you know? Maybe you don't have to be all the time just total adventurous, doing whatever you feel like. Maybe you don't have to take it to the extreme, but you do have to shake it up. You do have to be a little bit, you have to take some chances. You got to jump over some puddles and slosh right through some others. You know what I mean? So vary it a little bit, you know. What we have for your overall message is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords indicates conflicting ideas or conflicting thoughts. One pattern of thought is oriented in one direction and concerned with one set of facts or statistics, or, you know, that kind of thing. And the other one is concerned more with the raw, maybe morality of the situation, or, oh, there's a kitty. The morality of the situation, or like the happiness, the emotions, that type of thing. Or it could be literally just two conflicting opinions on the way to proceed, two conflicting ideas. But so I'm just saying it can be either. But the advice associated with this card is to, instead of necessarily battling, to sort of sit and wait, and maybe resign a little bit. So the character on here has the two swords, and she's kind of blindfolded, but it sort of looks like there's like a third eye above her right there. It reminds me of stories that I used to hear about, like fencers, professional fencers, and how they would train with a master. And that would be to sort of live with them all the time and do like their laundry and be an assistant in a way. But the master would sort of always be trying to surprise the student and come out, you know, hit him from around the corner when he wasn't looking, and he would be expected to just sort of defend himself with whatever he had in his hands. And eventually, you know, he would never do it. As soon as he comes around thinking he's going to be around this corner, then the master comes out from behind and smacks him from the other side. So what he starts to eventually do is just sort of resign and say, all right, well, you know, I guess if it hits, it hits. And the curious thing happens in that moment when he's sort of resigned to whatever's going to happen happens. All of a sudden he has the speed, he has the agility to actually prevent it from happening. And it's because he hasn't projected his attention and energy in one direction, so that if it comes in another, he's got to withdraw from that direction and then go back into the next direction. He's ready to accept whatever's coming at him because he's not holding on to the past or to what's happened sort of not as ideally as you would have liked. You see what I'm saying? So following a specific goal or vision is good, but you also have to learn to sort of detach from it and accept what actually occurs, to not get hung up on a vision as that vision becomes different or less possible because of how things progress. You know what I mean? But anyway, overall, this is a very structured, good reading that I got for you here. I think that you're going through a process that everybody has to go through, and that you will find yourself a lot better off for in the end. And if you have any questions or comments about this reading, please leave them in the comment section. I love comments. And until then, until next time, I will see you, my Aries friends, and I hope everyone's doing well. Have a good one.